you got into it real bad
Yeah,
with them, with Ronnie and Debbie, right? Or was it just one
yeah.
of them?
No, we both of them.
What? Why were you yelled at by them?
I was yelled at them. I mean, yelled at by them a few times. Um, for um, I don't know how to say it. For being friends with another resident there.
Mm-hmm.
They thought we were talking amongst ourselves too much. Um, we shouldn't be doing that. Did one of us need to leave? And
And this wasn't anything like, not that it's their business, but this wasn't anything like romantic or not. You just
absolutely not.
couldn't talk to each other despite the
Absolutely not.
fact that you're there around the
Right,
clock all
You
the
can't
time.
go anywhere and talk to anybody else.
right. And we had been there just about the same amount of time. We were there the longest of our original group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else had been kicked out. One at a time. All of them had been kicked out. We were the only two left. So we kind of stuck together
Mm-hmm.
and we worked together. We helped each other, because when you're out there all alone like that in that kind of situation,
Yeah.
if you can relate to somebody, well, that's your friend. I mean, you have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have nothing else.
Makes it a lot easier.
You're isolated, and um, if you go up and ask, they're not going to talk to you. If you go up and ask them or try to start a conversation with them, it's just like, I got to go.
Hmm.
Just we'll talk about this later or something like that. Um, and then another time, some volunteers had came down from a church to help us clear land because they had seen videos on YouTube, Sisters in Christ, and they were in a new location that was woods. They needed the land cleared and everything. And so they came here and were volunteering. And we were, like I said, my friend and I were the workers there. So we were immediately outside working with these people, the bulldozers and shovels and hoes and stuff, because that's what we do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Try to build this place for people just like us because we needed it.
Yeah.
Um, I got the volunteers got close to me. They got close to him, and they wanted to exchange numbers and stay in touch with us, and because they cared about us. They got to know us, and we weren't just homeless lowlifes or
Right.
whatever.
They respected you as people,
Yes,
basically.
yes. And so we exchanged numbers, and immediately, and they even talked about this yesterday. Immediately, as soon as I put my phone up and said I'm going to go get my rake, Ronnie came down there and said, this is not allowed.
Hmm.
We want you guys to know that we don't want you socializing with the residents here because they always seem to turn and want to tell bad things, spread bad things about the village. So we just don't allow any contact at all. And so that night we had a meeting, and Ronnie gave us one of his what we all called intimidation speeches, and that was where you were told, we know you were exchanging numbers with them. The volunteers are not here for you; they're here for us. We say what volunteers can come here, and if you mess with us, we'll send them down the road too. Um, you don't tell them your story. You don't tell them your Facebook. You don't talk to them at all. Um, we won't have it, and if we find out that you have their number in your phone, or you've been texting them or asking them anything, or they've been asking you anything, then you're out now. Don't care who you are, what your name is, what your story is. You'll be gone.
God.
So they had asked me repeatedly, these three ladies, what I needed, if I needed anything in my domestic violence situation. I told them the truth. I'm just glad to be alive. I don't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to be out here working with you guys and not having to look over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another girl told them pretty much the same thing. She didn't need anything. Well, they just kept on. And I had given my outdoor chair to a couple that the lady was sick, and they only had one chair, so I gave mine to them. So the ladies seen that, and they noticed that. And they were like, oh, I'm going to buy her a chair. Okay, well, I had my phone hooks up to one of those little battery packs, and it was a piece of crap. And they noticed that. So, see, I didn't tell them anything.
Yeah, they just noticed.
Yeah.
They're paying attention.
Yeah, and then one of the other guys, his phone was all cracked up, and you couldn't hardly see the screen. They bought him a phone.
Oh.
Well, they gave the stuff to us kind of secretly.
Yeah.
Because they had already been told don't be talking to them. Well, they gave it to us, and we kind of put it out of the way in our tent, so if they came to unzip it and look in there, they couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Well, that night when we were during the intimidation speech, we were all three questioned of what did they give you. We know they gave you something, and what was it? Well, I told them. We all told them. You realize what you make us look like? Asking these people, begging these people to give you stuff. Well, first of all, I didn't beg nobody. I didn't ask anybody for anything. They came and wanted to do it, and they kept asking, and I never did tell them anything. They were watching. They were paying attention, and they seen what they thought I needed, and they gave it to me. Well, they took it. I had to hand that over.
Oh my God.
What did they do with it?
They just took it.
Oh.
They took my cooler. Someone gave me a cooler, one of the volunteers.
Marissa.
One of the volunteers gave me a cooler so I could have milk and eggs and stuff, because we didn't have any kind of refrigeration system at all.
Oh wow.
Oh. Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
So someone gave me a cooler, and they took that from me.
And did they check to see if you had stuff like regularly, like, because you said you're like limited on what you could have.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, you got too much in your tent. You got to throw this away, throw that away, and I was like, well, why do you want my stuff? I know that I came here with nothing, but these people that come, these volunteers, and these people that are doing all these donations, they see me, and maybe they came a month ago when I was all beat up and stuff, and maybe they came back and they're like, wow, look at her, I want to help her.
Yeah.
And they give me socks and toboggans or clothes or possum pans and stuff for when you do leave here. Because you won't be here forever. We want to help you. We're giving you this, that. No, you can't have that. You cannot have that. So I was always like, well, I don't understand. If these people that come and they hear my story and they get close to me and they pray with me and stuff, and they want to help me by giving me things for when I do transition out of here, why are you taking it away from me? Why am I not allowed to have it?
Yeah.
Right.
You want me to come here with nothing and leave here with nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what you're told. When you leave, you're told if you didn't come here with it, don't take it with you.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, so the clothes thing too. You guys had no laundry, right?
No. We were never, if you washed out, if you had any clean clothes, you washed them out in the shower when you got to take a shower.
So that's crazy. Remember when we went there that one day, the lady had said like, oh, they get to do washing. I don't know how many times a week she said or something. I don't.
Yeah, she made it sound like they were taking y'all to go
Oh,
do it.
absolutely not. The campground had a little washroom that had 2 washing machines and 2 dryers in it, but it was $1.50 to wash and $1 to dry. And well,
Yeah,
we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
But the donations are coming in.
yeah, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Those weren't for us. We never seen any kind of anything like that.
Okay, I see, yeah.
The pastor that would take us to the store one night, him and his wife gave us a Ziploc bag full of quarters,
Oh.
so we could go wash clothes.
Wow. Jesus. And and you said that like the pastor started catching on to stuff. Like what
Yeah.
happened with the pastor? Like is he just out of the picture now?
Yeah,
or-
he's out of the picture. I didn't know what had happened. I just knew that we weren't having church anymore, and him and his church people were not coming anymore. But apparently he was told by Debbie not to come back ever.
Jeez.
He had questioned why she had kicked out a man and his pregnant wife.
Oh.
And so they got into it about that. And she was like, well, don't question my ministry. Don't question what I do here, because it's really none of your business. And preacher man, did you open the doors of your church when it was cold and snowing and bring all these people into your church?
That sounds super familiar.
We've heard that.
Did you open your basement door and allow all these people to come in there? Well, if you didn't, then don't worry about why they got kicked out from here. Don't worry about what goes on at this village, and don't step the foot back over here.
Wow.
Jeez. Why did she kick out the guy? You can ask, but I just wanted, why did she kick out the guy with the pregnant wife, or them out?
Well, because they were having an intimidation speech. And everybody, after it was over, you know, everyone, all the residents were like, you know what? I think it's time that we call a meeting.
Mm.
And we ask why we're not getting this or that, or why we're loading up all these tens of thousands of dollars worth of donations, Amazon deliveries, and that just never ended. Why are we loading all this up for y'all to drive out of here with, when, you know, I got holes in my shoes,
Yeah.
Right.
or it's raining and I don't have an umbrella? No one ever had an umbrella, ever. So that's what we were calling a little meeting for. You know, y'all are down talking us so much. We're gonna ask. We're gonna stand up and we're gonna ask, why is this?
Right.
Well, that lasted about 5 minutes,
Mm.
because whenever they came up there, Ronnie and Debbie, no one got to say anything. That guy that got kicked out, he started it by saying, well, we wanted to call this meeting because we wanted to confront y'all about a few things, and that was it. It got stopped right there. And it was, you don't need to be speaking for the whole village. You know, you're the one that has been smoking that legal weed. We know you have. You have no business saying this, that, and other. And then she started saying, well, you're not clean. Jesus don't like people who are not clean.
Oh my God.
You should do like me. When I start feeling bad, I start taking magnesium. It's all natural. And he said, well, when you're pointing at me, marijuana's natural too. It comes out of the ground. And that was apparently not what he should have said, because Ronnie said, don't, that's it. You can just pack your stuff and leave. And he stood up and said, well, you can just kiss my ass. He said, but before I leave here, I'm going to talk to someone. I can't remember the name he said. And he said, you can believe that, I promise you that. And so he went to start packing his things. And the next thing, the meeting was over. No one else got to say anything about anything. It was over. The next morning, a new camper was pulled in there, and they were giving it to him and his pregnant wife.
Wow.
Okay, so it's kind of like they didn't graduate to the camper.
No.
They
They
got kicked out.
They got kicked out, and then
That's how you get a camper.
and they were told, well, before I leave, I'm going to talk to someone. And they were like, we can't let that happen.
So somebody that was like in
Important.
a law enforcement or
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, we'll keep that particular out of there. But
Yeah.
But it
Seems like that.
something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
well, you have a camper. What did you do wrong?
I saw too much, and I heard too much. I knew too much, and you know that just they felt threatened, and on quite a few occasions. And you know the things that I saw and the things that I witnessed or heard, I was not by myself.
Right.
I didn't see things that no one else seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just other people chose to look over it,
Yeah.
Right.
or they were scared.
And you were willing to kind of say something about it, maybe, or ask
Yeah.
a question or whatever.
Yeah, and it was one lie right after another, one to cover up another, And then tomorrow it was a different lie. And, finally my friend and I were like, this is not at all what they make people think it is.
Yeah.
Not at all. The donations that come in, they go right out. And not to people, not to people like on the street or people that want to help us. It's loaded up. Most of the time the boxes are not even opened that come from Amazon and stuff like that. We have loaded up so many boxes of food that people have brought, other organizations from all over, everywhere. They'll be bringing, lots of canned foods and gloves and clothes and just Bibles, everything.
Yeah.
That stuff is packed right up and sent out of there. We don't.
Where does it go?
They have a huge warehouse somewhere. I think it's in Lawndale.
I know a few.
Yeah,
There's one in Lawndale. I don't know
Then
which
they have
one's
another
which,
one here. It's in Sandy Mush.
Oh yeah.
That's
What's
the
his
other
name
one.
told us.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that used to be a tanning place that's attached to a gas station.
Yeah.
And the other one is this building by itself that's on a main road.
Yeah.
So they're reasonably large-sized buildings.
Oh yeah.
So when y'all would, like, let's say you got some stuff last week, you took it there, put it in there. When you come this week, is the same stuff still there that you took there last week?
Yeah.
Huh.
And she
weird.
told us that she has so much furniture and appliances, everything.
Come on.
She said she has enough stuff in her warehouse to fully furnish a house for every single person there. And we were like, well, why don't you?
All right, what the heck's going on?
That's a good question.
I'm like, well, where is it? Can I at least have a chair? Like something?
Right.
I mean, my God.
And it was when we were having to leave Grandview, before we knew where we were going, she told us that she had new, nice campers out in the field somewhere, that she had a camper to put each one of us in if worse come to worse.
Oh, interesting.
I have
We've heard
pictures
that.
of like half a dozen campers
Trying to
that are
figure
sitting there.
out
They're
where
not far
they're
from
gonna
where
go.
we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
You see, you got booted after you got that speech, essentially for just talking to,
Accepting stuff.
or
that they gave
accepting
you or
stuff
whatever.
and talking to them.
Yeah.
Yes, because the next day after that intimidation speech, the volunteers came to my tent and they wouldn't tell me bye. They were leaving. And I had just cried all night and I just wouldn't come out. And I said, I wish you guys would just go on because I'm about to get kicked out for talking to you guys. And I hated to do that, but I had to.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? And they did, but I hadn't gotten anybody's phone number at that point. I had gotten their Facebooks. So I didn't have any data on my phone. I couldn't get on Facebook to message anyone. But Brittany had, I said her name.
That's all right.
We'll cut her name out, but she is also gone, just for the
Yeah,
record.
she's no longer
It's
there.
interesting, right?
Yeah, she's gone. While we were doing all this construction work or grading work or whatever, there was a big rat out there. And they had taken a lot of pictures of it. Well, that girl, she loved animals, and she was like, please send me a picture of that. So one of the volunteers did that. And after they left and stuff, and I just felt so bad, I went to her, and I said, do you have any one of those numbers? Like where she sent you the picture of the rat? You still have that number? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, please give it to me. And she did. And I contacted them, and that night, that very night, I was cooking dinner out in the cold for everybody, and Ronnie and Debbie came down there to call a meeting and said, well, Candy's out of here. We just want to tell you guys that we've got her a camper, and she'll be leaving here tomorrow.
You didn't even know.
No.
It was just sprung up.
And I was like, what? What? And they were like, yep. So you guys be happy for her, and it'll be here at 10 o'clock tonight.
Oh, my Lord.
This is like 8:30, 8:45.
No, it's like that night immediately. Boom.
Wow.
I'm like, where am I going?
Yeah, that's quick, huh?
So I was like, well, you remember I don't have a job.
All right.
I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, y'all just gonna put it on the side of the road up here, or what?
Right.
She told me no, that she had a secret campground where she was gonna take me.
Oh gosh.
There was a dollar store close by that I could get a job there, be able to walk back and forth there.
Oh yeah.
Now, did she have a contact there to give you a job, or was she
No.
just? Oh,
No.
so she just essentially thought that
But,
you could just get a job there, even though maybe someone else around there wants to work there too.
Not to mention it is not within walking distance.
No, it's really not.
It's
No,
not. I mean, you
and-
could
I
walk
looked at the
there,
map. It's not. It's,
but
you could,
it'd be a long one.
but you don't. I mean, you have no way of knowing that.
they're going to give you
That-
a
Yeah,
job.
of course.
So it's pretty much she set me up for failure
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
because she knew that I had no way to pay the lot rent
Mm-hmm.
to keep the camper. Not to mention that the camper that they gave me, the entire floor had rotted out.
Oh God.
The slide out was falling off.
Oh.
The bed, on both sides of the bed, you could see daylight.
Oh wow.
There was black mold growing all over the place.
That's crazy. In the video, they make it look so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep the camera up there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
They really do on the covers and everything.
And after we got it to the campground and they left, the man who owns the campground came because I could have no water. All the plumbing was messed up. The man from the campground came the next day and he said, well, did they get your water fixed? Have they been back? And I said, no. And, I was crying and he wanted to know what was wrong with me. And I said, well, you know, there's problems with this camper. I can't breathe in there.
Oh.
It stinks so bad. I've
Oh,
cleaned
yeah.
and cleaned. I have the windows open and it's just, do you smell it? And he was like, yeah, I do. And he said, well, I don't understand why they've not been back about the water. And I said, the slide out is falling off. The stove is like way down.
Oh.
And he
Oh,
was like, are you kidding me? And he said, can I come in? And I said, yeah. And he came in here and he was like, or in that one, and he was like, what? Look at what? And so he goes outside to the compartments, the basement compartments, and he raises them up and sticks his hand in there and it's just dripping.
Oh.
Oh.
And he said, no, this can't happen. And I said, well, I can't. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
They gave it to me.
He's saying he can't have it at his campground.
No, he was upset that they gave it to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
He said I knew because he has requirements. You know, you have certain year models.
Mm-hmm.
Because he tries to keep a nice, clean, up to date
Mhm.
place. And he said I knew when you guys were coming down the road. When I saw it, I was like, oh crap. And which it was the crappiest one in the campground. I mean,
Wow.
it was. And I thought it too, you know, when we were pulling in, I was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
everybody's going to be like, she lives in the one that's falling in.
Right. Who's this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he said, no, absolutely not. I said, well, I mean, I can wash it, but I can't fix this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have no idea what to do. And I can't say anything because I don't want to seem ungrateful
Yeah.
because I'm not standing on the side of the road up here.
right. Right.
He said, you don't have to say anything, I'm going to.
Hmm.
And he took it upon himself to call them and tell them that he did not appreciate them sending me over here in this. He said it's absolutely unlivable. And you had to know it before you put her in it. And within 10 minutes, they had someone who was ready to go to pick me up another one and
Wow.
swap it out.
Huh.
And they brought this one.
Wow.
That's awesome. At least somebody actually gave a crap, you know?
Yeah,
That's really.
and the man who owns this campground was here when they pulled back up with it. And,
Mhm.
you know, he was like, looked at me and was like, I said, I don't know. Oh my gosh. And he said, I told you. Sometimes you have to stand up for yourself.
Right.
And he said, and I can't forget this. He told me that day, he said, when someone comes to help you, they need to be helping you. They don't need to give you something that looks like help, but is going to cause you major problems when they walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
Passing the
help at
problem
all.
off on
It's
you.
not helping at all. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're putting somebody in something that could potentially kill them. I mean, if there's mold everywhere,
Yeah.
that can give you horrible
Oh, I lived in
problems.
it. The house got
Yeah.
condemned, and I was
I
very
mean,
sick.
you
Yeah.
get so sick from that. You could be freezing. You have no water. I mean, you might as well be living on the side of the road in a
But you
tent.
still, at this point, though, it's like, okay, so
I have a roof.
you're grateful for it, and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they took you, basically, they got you camper, fine. They had to swap it out, but they put it somewhere where you got to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one option for Miles to get a job.
Yeah.
No car.
And so, how did they expect you to pay rent? Were they going to cover that for a while until you?
No, a church paid my rent for the first month, and that was it. I'm just here. No job. That, like you said, there's one place in the area that I could possibly get a job at, and they're not hiring.
Jeez.
And just for the record, I was at that place just now.
Oh yeah.
And in the parking lot, they had I found a bag of meth
3
and 2 bags of
bags.
fentanyl. It looks like.
We had to call.
I'll put the pictures in here. It's like that's the one place for anybody within I don't even know how many miles to like meet up. And the woman that we met at the other place we were at yesterday, like she used to live in this area, and I thought because it's in the middle of nowhere, it would be like safe and stuff like that. She said like the drug problems are bad here.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Much better where she is now, which you
Yeah.
would think it's the other way around, but hey, we're not from down here. We didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah.
You know, so
Kinda
there's
how it
one
is up
place to
north
work at,
in
and
Michigan.
I can verify that. We were here. We went all
Yeah.
through like what you would consider town, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and there was one
Yeah,
place to
Unfortunately,
work.
we had to call
And you
the
tried,
police to get
right?
the drugs
You-
out of the parking lot.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I tried. I mean,
You tried.
I go to that one place just like every day, at least every other day, and they know me by first name now
Oh wow.
when I come there because I'm always like, "Do you have anything?"
Mhm.
You know.
And there's like no job service around here, like no
No.
place to go and try to get placed at a job or anything like that.
No, but you know, getting a job is not my problem. I have a lot of skills. It's just I have no way to get there.
Right.
Right.
And you know, the landlord was lied to when they called him to even put me here. They told him that I was already working at that place.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
That's wow.
Wow, just to get you in. And then, like you said, they got someone to pay your rent for 1 month, but
And then it's
that
like,
was all they were
screw
going to
you
do.
after
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's it. I mean, that's just it.
Oh, man. That's
So-
pretty bad. So that's, and then the other stuff, there's stuff that jumped out at me yesterday. I hate to have you tell it again, but stuff like that fork thing.
Yeah. I got caught. No other way to say it.
Got caught.
That's so
Got
crazy.
caught.
I got caught with a pack of forks, plastic forks, spoons, and knives in my tent. And Ronnie said, "What are you doing with these?" And I was like, "Well,
Eating.
I use them to eat or to cook with."
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "You don't need all these. You know you don't need all these,
Ain't no
right?
problem.
You know that you can walk up here every day and get a fork, right?"
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Why do you want to make me feel like that?" I mean, I thought you were. The whole purpose of this was to make me feel better, make everyone feel
Yeah.
better, and no one feels better.
No.
I mean, if it's that you want me to have to come up there and say, "Please, can I have a fork?"
It's
so I
just
can
like
eat?"
Oliver Twist.
My
Like, please,
God.
sir, may I have some
Yeah,
more?
it is. That's exactly
It's
right.
like,
Exactly.
good
Did he
God.
take
Exactly.
them?
Yes, he took them.
So you took them.
Yeah.
And you could have like a set amount of stuff, basically. Like, what were you
Yeah.
actually allowed to have?
You were allowed to have 7 outfits and 2 pairs of shoes, a coat and a hat, and 2 pairs of gloves, and a couple cans of food, and that's it. And you know, as far as like toiletries things,
Mhm.
my friend that's still there, he just got caught with a bag of trial size shampoos and deodorants and things like that he brought there with him, but they took those from him.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, showers
I was gonna say, what was the shower situation at that new place?
showers there were, I mean, just non-existent.
Because didn't they get a bath out or a shower
Yes,
trailer or whatever it is?
someone custom built a shower house for men and women
Yeah.
on separate sides, and a church had it delivered. some volunteers came and they knew we couldn't take a shower when we were working in red mud.
Oh.
So they were determined to hook it up. And Ronnie did everything he could to prevent that. And so they left on the assumption that Ronnie would have it fixed within a week. And they gave extra money to be able to go get gravel to put around it and stuff like that.
Gosh.
But instead, they changed the plumbing pipes on it and made it like a camper plumbing system where you might can use the showers, but you won't be able to use the toilets. Then it went to the sink, and then somehow they didn't want to use the gas hot water heaters because it would take propane.
Right.
And that costs money. So they and the power, there was no power to it, so we had to use a generator.
Oh my god.
And then when they got their new motorhome donated, they took the generator. And so we just, there's no shower
So
at all.
there's no shower at all.
No, none that can be used. I mean, the shower house is still sitting there.
But it's just sitting there.
And they
to
made
be
this
used.
beautiful video with the shower house.
And the guy
hauled in
custom
there.
made it.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's nice. I
Donated.
mean, it's really nice. And there's a trailer there that's it's in pretty bad shape, but they say they're going to redo it and all this. There's a bathroom on each end of that, but there's no electricity. So they rigged it up somehow where you could run the hot water heater on a generator. But that happened maybe twice while I was there
wow.
because that takes gasoline.
Yeah.
And then one specific time that stands out to me is when some volunteers were there. We were dirty. I mean, we hadn't had a shower in 3
You're
weeks.
working,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's been 3 weeks.
Of no shower at all.
Right.
Oh my god.
We need to take a shower,
Mm-hmm.
or we're about to leave to go take a shower. This is just beyond too long.
That is horrible.
So we were told we could go behind their RV and get the generator, bring it down there and run it for a little bit, and we could only another point. We could only have the generator running after 5 o'clock or on the weekends because
What?
there was no permits and stuff for it.
Oh, okay.
Do you have to have permits for a generator?
I don't think so.
No, you have to have permits and stuff to hook the power and I guess.
Or to use the power.
Yeah, but you had to rig the hot water heater to be able to even be powered by a generator.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I
I'm just
gotcha.
like, what?
Because that's all that was powered by that generator, not lights or anything like
Gotcha.
that. We had to take flashlights and everything.
Yeah. Oh wow.
But anyway, so one of the guys went up there and got the generator and brought it down there and turned it on, or was letting it heat the water up. One person got to take a shower before the generator ran out of gas. And no, we're not going to get any more gas. It's just too bad. We got stuff to do. One of the volunteers' husband called me over there and said, I just heard all that. I have gas on the back of my truck. If you will go get someone, that guy that lives here, to go with me back there to the generator, I'll pour this gas in the generator and you guys can crank it back up and take a shower. So that's what I did, and the guy went with him. They filled it up, cranked it back up. It ran about 5 minutes, and they nipped that in the bud. They got the generator and took it right back behind the RV, and no showers were taken.
Oh
Wow.
my god. I mean,
Even though the volunteers tried to
Yeah.
fix
and
the
they're
situation.
doing this in front of people, you know?